When I began my career in black media, there was an expectation that this was just the beginning, not the end. Black media was to be a training ground, or a launching pad into mainstream media. Some prominent journalists have spoken of their aspirations not to be pigeonholed into Aboriginal affairs, not to just be confined to reporting on black affairs because they are black. It's an entirely understandable aspiration if you want to be a journalist, and yet it wasn't something I ever considered. I think it comes down to why you want to be in the media in the first place. A voice in the media is undeniably powerful. Journalists often do not have a field of expertise outside journalism, and yet we are given the opportunity to speak to the public and frame public debates in ways that other professions cannot. Being in black media means not only understanding that power, but understanding black power, the power you hold and the power our communities hold. The essays and stories I have presented in this collection all say something about the promise of black media being not a holding place, but one instead of freedom. Black media is on the margins. It is underfunded and undervalued, and you must go to greater lengths to get your story's attention. And yet it provides a space of possibility. In fact, it is the mainstream media that confines us. As Gomeroi writer Jared Field once wrote on Indigenous X, "I promise that the margins are not so bad. There's freedom here." As I wrote these essays and reflected on my past journalism, I began realizing just how much black media has allowed me to find my own voice. When I wrote for mainstream media, I always had a niggling reminder in the back of my head that I was writing for a white audience, for an audience that required me to compromise my words and my fire. But when I write for black media, there is none of that there. The heat does not have to be turned down. The fire can be stoked. It is stoked by elevating the voices of black witnesses, by honouring their experiences, and by listening deeply to their interpretations, to their theorising, to their own knowledges. When black witnesses are in mainstream media, we are often asked questions that deny this very power, the power to define our own reality. The questions are always tailored to the whims of those in power, those who have had the power to determine our futures through harmful and violent representations. In black media, we don't have to answer those questions. We write our own. One of the most important lessons I've learnt in journalism is the power of the right question. Because without the right question, you will never find the answer.